Our next speaker, Mr. Mike Grandinetti, is an eminent figure in the world of corporate innovation, tech entrepreneurship, and product design. Mike has worn many hats, from being a Silicon Valley engineer and a former McKinsey strategy consultant to a successful serial tech entrepreneur and an award-winning professor. Today, Mike is here to share his profound insights on innovation in marketing and how forward-thinking approaches can revolutionize the way we drive success in our ever-evolving landscape. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Mike Grandinetti. Over to you, Mike.
Ashish, thank you. I appreciate that kind introduction, and I want to just let everyone know how much I am honored to be here. I want to thank Billy Hayes for the invitation. And so I am standing here tonight in Boston, Massachusetts, and my plan is very simple, right? Your goal for Dealer Digital Summit 3 is to accelerate into the future. And I brought along a turbocharger that I think will help you do exactly that. And what I'm talking about specifically is the next major phase of digital transformation, and it is known as generative AI. And we will spend quite a bit of time trying to unpack what I mean by that. And what I want to do is I want to very quickly get right down to the bottom line. What are the things that I hope that you take away from my talk this evening? I'm just going to set my timer here. So the first thing I want you to know is that whether you are aware of it or not, you are already living in the future. We have formally entered the age of artificial intelligence. Now, we've been living in this era for quite some time, but it's been sort of behind the scenes. But with the introduction of ChatGPT and other related applications over the last 6 months or so, it has gone mainstream. And that means it is accessible to all of you in your dealerships, okay? It is absolutely, without question, the next phase of digital transformation. And companies of all sizes that are using Gen AI are seeing massive productivity gains. You have the opportunity in the India, Asia Pacific region for Stellantis to be first movers and to establish a really significant competitive advantage and to turbocharge your dealerships. Now, here's what's amazing, is you don't need to have any technical background. We no longer need to rely on data scientists or machine learning engineers or software developers. All of this is available to each one of us. And literally, all we need to do is know how to type in our own natural language. It supports 95 different languages, including all of the major languages across India and the Asia Pacific. And so my message to you is very, very simple. Now, today, is the time to begin to learn more about the power of these tools, roll your sleeves up, and begin to use them in your dealerships to turbocharge your marketing teams, your sales efforts, your customer support efforts, okay? Now, I don't know how many of you know Mark Cuban, but I wanted to make sure that you heard from someone who doesn't mince words. Mark is a billionaire. He is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks National Basketball Association team. He's been a fixture on the very popular show Shark Tank. I understand Shark Tank has been syndicated in many of the regions around the world. He is a very successful serial entrepreneur, and he's a legend. And his quote is very simple. I don't care how big you are or small, if you're a one man or woman shop, or if you've got 5,000 employees, you've got to understand how AI impacts your business, okay? And I could not agree with him more. And that may sound like hyperbole, but I'm going to hopefully prove to you that it's not. So, this image was actually generated using a feature within ChatGPT. And I wanted to just go back to the very beginnings of when automotive dealerships first arrived, going back to the late 1880s in Germany, the late 1890s in Detroit, and the early 1900s in Osaka. So this was not an image that, and I'm certainly no artist, but this was an image I was able to create just by asking ChatGPT to go back and create imagery of these three dealerships at these moments in time. Now, we all know that we have seen dealerships more or less remain the same for decades, whether it be the Puegot dealer in Switzerland, the Jeep dealer in Portland, Oregon in the US, right? And for a long, long time, we saw that the way that you ran a dealership was pretty much the same as you did in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But let's hit the fast forward button. And I want to share with you a slide that I hope provides some level of understanding of how profound the introduction of the internet and the World Wide Web are. Now, this comes from the Gartner Group. Gartner Group, probably one of the most respected firms on the planet. They provide consulting on technology and disruption to some of the biggest companies in the world. And they list that the formation of the World Wide Web, which was the beginning of the digital era, and what brings us all here tonight, was the most disruptive technology in modern history. And that the secondary effects of this were massive. The effect on the economy, the effect on society and culture, the effect on the way that we work. And we're still seeing this unfold. And that's why we're here tonight for Dealer Digital Summit 3. And so this was the beginning of the digital era, and it goes back until the mid-1990s. So we have been living in this era, believe it or not, already for 25 years. And this has changed everything about the way that we interact with the world, okay? And of course, another major inflection point happened in 2007 with the introduction of the iPhone, and soon thereafter, the Android phone. And there are today, about 5 billion active iPhone and Android phone users on the planet. Think about that. 5 billion active users today, okay? And so, of course, the next generation is growing up with the iPhone or the Android phone. And it has become such an integral part of life that even when you're doing something like riding a bicycle and you should be looking out for traffic, people are so wed to their phones that they can't put them down, okay? And so, yes, this is Dealer Digital Summit 3, and many of you have been taken on this digital transformation journey, but it is just that. It is a journey. It is not a destination. It is never ending. And so we have to constantly level up our game and bring on the next generation of capabilities, okay? Now, I'm sure some of you, some of the pace setters in the audience, obviously have already been taking advantage of AI-driven capabilities, right? So for all of you who are doing search engine optimization or Google Ads, there's a lot of artificial intelligence underneath the hood that's helping you to, find optimized keywords, to write custom copy, to do optimized audience targeting and bidding and creative selection placements. But there's so much more now that's available to all of us. And I want to share just one example with you, okay? And this is a transitional example. This is Nissan in Brazil, taking advantage of WhatsApp within their dealerships. And what they've been able to realize within Brazil is that now 30% of their leads are coming directly through WhatsApp. Now, Brazil is certainly a significant user of WhatsApp, but nowhere near as significant as India, that has almost 400 million users, Malaysia, where 92% of the population, or 70 million people, are using it, almost 90% in Indonesia. And so what you see here is this ability to go from an ad that is either in an Instagram or a Facebook post and instantly connects to a WhatsApp account where you can begin to interface directly with the dealer. And they've been able to cut response times to their customers from an average of 30 minutes to literally seconds. And they're able to very quickly route customers to dealers, right? This is pretty basic stuff. And from what I understand, working with the Stellantis team who was organizing this event, there are some dealerships in India today that are doing exactly this. But this is really low-hanging fruit, and I think it would be incredibly productive to implement across a lot of the IAP region, okay? But digital transformation continues, of course, okay? So where are we going next? And I want to take you back to the future. But I want to let you know that the future is already here. You're already living in the future, even if you don't know it yet, okay? So the future is the era of AI and really the era of generative AI. And there are some killer apps that have emerged. Okay, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But Gartner Group is probably the least hyperbolic organization you could imagine. And for generative AI, that is literally only a year old, to come into this disruption scale, almost at the reinvention stage, has never happened in the entire history of the computing industry. So they are absolutely convinced, and I will tell you that I am equally convinced, as are my colleagues, that this will truly revolutionize the way we live and the way we work. And now let's get into how we're going to do that, okay? So ChatGPT is something I have to believe all of you have at least heard about or read about. It is now bringing the turbocharger directly into sales, marketing, and customer support. Now, if you are using Microsoft 365 today, you have very easy access to the capabilities of ChatGPT. Microsoft has invested $13 billion in the company that makes ChatGPT, a company known as OpenAI. And they are adding what are called Copilot capabilities into every single Microsoft 365 app that you might be using within your dealerships today. So there are two ways to access it, okay? And so how are we going to turbocharge our dealership? Well, it turns out the top 3 applications of ChatGPT are marketing, sales, and customer experience, okay? And so as I look at a chart that comes directly from Stellantis, and I look at the digital journey and how it begins from online search engine research through checking for a dedicated website to get more detail, to begin to look for sources with the ability to provide me with trusted data, review sites, and finally social media presence. ChatGPT helps me with all of these things, okay? And when it comes to the digital assessments and all of the digital touch points that are included in this assessment, once again, as I draw boxes around all of these different elements around the circle, ChatGPT is able to provide you support for all of these. So here, so that there's no concern about the complexity of this, I just literally took a screenshot of my ChatGPT app running on my MacBook. And these are some of the capabilities that are available to you. I have the ability to create imagery, just like those dealerships that I showed you at the very beginning of the presentation. I've got the ability to drop in all kinds of different files and data, customer records, and be able to generate all kinds of insight around marketing campaigns and lead generation. I've got the ability, I'm going to skip game time because that's not something that we care about, to be able to actually create better negotiating tactics so that you can actually train yourself to become a better negotiator. And one of the things that ChatGPT is just extraordinary at is the ability to write content, any kind of content that you can possibly imagine. Now, here's the most amazing thing. The only thing that you have to know how to do in order to access this is type. So here is ChatGPT saying, how can I help you today? And one of the choices is make a content strategy, okay? And I'm just going to type in what that content strategy might be. So let me just now go to a different screen, and I want to actually show you something that I typed into ChatGPT that hopefully will show you just how simple it is, okay? Here we go. So I typed into ChatGPT, suggest 5 Instagram posts for recent Gen Z university graduates who have an affinity for off-roading for the brand Jeep and the model CJ5. Include imagery and text and a call to action, and then rank order these 5 suggested posts in terms of predicted click-through rate. And here's what ChatGPT came back with in about 3 seconds. Right? Creating Instagram posts that resonate with recent Gen Z university graduates who are passionate about off-roading can be a great way to engage this audience for the Jeep brand, particularly focusing on the CJ5 model. Here are 5 post ideas ranked in order of predicted click-through rate, keeping in mind the adventurous and digitally savvy nature of Gen Z. And so the first suggested post is the title, The Road Less Traveled. The image would be a vibrant photo of a Jeep CJ5 on a rugged and charted path during the golden hour to add a sense of adventure and beauty. The text would be graduated and ready for adventure. The CJ5 is your perfect partner for the road less traveled. And then it gives you a couple of hashtags and a call to action. Swipe up to explore the CJ5 and start your journey. And why would this generate a high click-through rate? Because this post combines a sense of adventure with a direct appeal to new grads, tapping into their desire for exploration and independence. I'm not going to read the rest of the post, but I'm going to show you that it literally came up with 5 distinct social media posts, all because I typed in 2 sentences and I asked it to help me create these posts. And so I wanted to share this with you to demystify this, to show you that anybody can do this. And you can do it tonight, you can do it tomorrow. So there's no reason to be intimidated by the fact that it happens to have an artificial intelligence title in it. It's accessible. Okay? Looks like, let me tell you what's happening with the use of generative AI. It has already begun to get quite a bit of usage by marketing professionals. So this study was done by the Boston Consulting Group, and it was done about 6 months ago, and they asked 200 plus marketing professionals from 3 major regions, including Asia Pac, are you using generative AI? And the answer is 70% are already using it. And then in the lower right-hand corner, the number 1 usage of generative AI is to drive personalization. So to optimize the customer experience at every touch point with the Stellantis business. So what Gen AI is able to do, it's able to create custom content. So just think about how you interact with Netflix, right? My Netflix is different from your Netflix. The tiles that Netflix presents to me are different than the tiles that Netflix presents to any one of you. And but it took our friends from Netflix massive amounts of data science capability over many years to make that happen. And we're able to do that without anything other than being able to type a prompt, okay? So where are some of the most significant applications? And this now is going from what are people using it for today to where do they think the impact is going to be the most significant? And that impact is absolutely very relevant to any dealer that is on this call tonight. How do we identify leads based on different trends? How do we optimize our marketing? So we can do a bunch of A/B testing. We can create search engine optimization strategies. We can use personalized outreach using chatbots like I showed you earlier. We can create dynamic content on the fly. We can create all of our marketing collateral. We can do all kinds of success analytics, and we can go and we can look at the ways that our sales have turned out over the last quarter, over the last year, and begin to really understand and generate insights. Okay? We can create customer journey maps that are optimized at every touch point. We can automate marketing workflows, including nurturing campaigns. And we can do some other really cool stuff, right? So we can use chatbots, and we can go off and we can actually help people navigate our website in the lower right-hand corner to make sure that they're getting to the absolute most relevant information because a lot of these websites can be very, very complex to navigate. We can actually help people to automate the appointments in our service bay. So no longer is there a need for human intervention. It can be done automatically. You can free someone up at the service desk to allow that to be done without any kind of, human intervention. So these are just some of the examples that I wanted to share with you about how generative AI is able to bring a high level of improved performance into the dealerships. Okay? Let me just show you a few other examples, right? So on the left-hand side, imagine that you were trying to create conversion ads for a marketing campaign. It will allow you to generate in real time as many different kinds of conversion ad variances as you would like. And very much like the prompt that I shared with you earlier, will then help guide you to let you know where they believe the highest click-through and conversion rates are likely to have. On the right-hand side here, you can actually take, let's say, an hour-long YouTube video, and you could literally just post the URL of that YouTube video into the prompt, and it will actually pull out highlights from long video. You can say that I want most of these video snippets to be from 60 to 75 seconds, and it will automatically create the video snippets and give you the ability to edit these in real time without any kind of creative background whatsoever, okay? And for your sales forces, there's a capability that allows you to literally track every conversation, every telephone conversation, every voicemail message that's left, any interaction with the customer, and then be able to figure out who has the most effective sales pitch, who leaves the most effective voicemails, who sends the most effective emails, and then be able to use that so that you can up-level every single one of your salespeople within the dealership, right? So these are just a handful of examples. I'm going to skip this one. And so the question is, does it really work? And there have been a lot of studies that have been done. They're all very consistent. People are completing their tasks far quicker. They're generating their results at a much higher level of quality. And so what this is doing is it's doing two things. It's freeing up people's time, so you're not working on mundane tasks, and it's giving you more time to think strategically about your dealership and about your business. It's also eliminating the mundane tasks, and it's making people actually feel better about their jobs. So the level of work satisfaction has increased. And here's what's really interesting. And this was based on a study of 750 participants, all working for the Boston Consulting Group. And they split them in half. And what they found is that if they gave a group ChatGPT and another group no ChatGPT, they saw that the group that was in the bottom 50th percentile of skills saw their performance improve by nearly 45%. And so what this tells us is that it enables us to be able to bring up even the lowest performers in our dealership, to be able to, let them perform at a much higher level. So there's a lot of upside here and very, very little risk involved, okay? So the bottom line is the future is already here, right? It's just not evenly distributed, and you have an opportunity to live in the future today. And what's amazing is the capabilities that are available to Samsung and Sony and Infosys and Newmont are the same exact capabilities that are available to you. There's no distinction. So you're now getting enterprise-class capability that all of the big giants in Asia are able to use, okay? And there is clear proof that in India and Japan, there are people that are embracing generative AI today. So this is not just a US thing or a Silicon Valley thing, okay? So there will be, just like there is a digital divide today, there will absolutely be a significant generative AI divide. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that, okay? And so I want to also just preview where we're heading in the not too distant future. There's going to come a point in the next few years where AI will act as an agent on behalf of a buyer. And it will actually be going out on behalf of a buyer, and it will be asked to go off and do research for them, to make decisions on their behalf. And there will come a time where these agents will actually conduct commerce on behalf of your customers. And so, there will be less and less human people visiting websites, and I'm not in any way trying to say that websites are not relevant, but over time, we're going to see more of this, especially with Gen Z, okay? And so it's very, very important to get ahead of this, to become comfortable with these capabilities today, so that as they do evolve, you are in the lead. You are not behind on this, okay? So you have an opportunity to be pace setters in IAP and to really distinguish yourselves in a very, very competitive market. We never think of governments as being all that proactive, but yet the Indian Ministry of Electronics and IT is using AI models today to provide a better customer experience to farmers in rural areas in their natural languages, because remember, as I said, it speaks 95 languages, including many, many different Indian dialects. The Taiwan Ministry of Education is using it to help high school students and elementary school students to learn English. Okay? So how do we go about making this happen? First and foremost, I hope that the demo showed you that there's nothing about this that should be intimidating. Anybody should be able to do this. So I would recommend that you think about including as much of your dealership as possible in creating your own Gen AI agenda as part of the digital transformation journey that will be never ending. Give your employees the room, the space to experiment and to share what they've learned and to upskill the dealership. How do you learn more about this? Well, there's 3 simple ways. You can go to LinkedIn Learning. They have literally 1,000 different mini classes on generative AI. You can go on YouTube to Skill Leap AI or AI Advantage to learn more about this. And I just want to reiterate what I've told you. Okay? We're here. The future is now. There's an opportunity to really realize productivity gains in marketing, sales, and customer support. You've got the ability to take a first mover advantage within the region. You do not need tech skills to do this. You just need to be able to type or, by the way, speak. Because as of last Monday, you can actually speak into ChatGPT, just like you can speak into Siri or Alexa, and it will actually deliver the same prompt that I just showed you a few minutes ago. Okay? And so with that, I want to pause here. I know that I had 25 minutes, and I'm trying to stay on time. So Ashish, I know that we're ready to do some questions now, so let me stop the share and open it up.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. I mean, there is so much to learn, and thanks to you, we are a step ahead today. And what you rightly kind of mentioned in your slide, that it's all about experimentation. Now, now as we move to the question and answer, something that I can clearly see that's pretty interesting that has come in. Do you think we tend to lose our creativity bent with high usage of such tools?
I mean, there's no question that if we use it as a crutch, we could certainly begin to lose some of our creativity skills. But on the other hand, right, I will tell you that by playing, it's also causing a lot of people who never considered themselves to be creative to begin to engage with the tool to create imagery that they never dreamed possible, or to create video that they never thought they might do. That was somebody else's work. And so I think it's actually giving more of us an opportunity to do creative work than ever before. Right? You saw the 3 dealerships I created in the beginning, right? I would have never done that if I didn't have ChatGPT. I would have just gone and grabbed stock imagery and tried to do the best I can. So I think it's actually going to bring more people's creative skills out to the fore over time.
Right. So one last question that we have is, this is related to, so can ChatGPT create a campaign for me?
Absolutely, it can create a campaign. Not only can it create a campaign, and again, it can create a nurturing campaign, it can create a social media campaign, it can create pretty much any kind of campaign you want, But first and foremost, it's going to actually give you many different options. So you might be able to say, just like I did in my prompt, give me 5 different Instagram campaigns. And it will provide you with all of the detail that you need, and then you continue to interrogate it, where it will be, on multiple levels of interrogation, it will give you more and more detail. So it can create campaigns for you. And it's been able to do that now since literally last November, almost a year ago now. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for your time. And it's just been a pleasure to have you with us and, enriching us with such great knowledge out here. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Ashish. Thank you.